Well, how's it going, folks? Hope everybody's having a good day. Got a new little project here. This is work related, so but I'm going to be setting it up here in the garage until we get space in the lab that I work in for it. So in the meantime, we're going to play and have some fun. That is a Genmitsu 4040 Pro CNC Router. I'm not going to do an unboxing video. There's plenty of those there on the internet, YouTube, blah blah blah. So because I gotta make sure I got space. I don't know exactly the dimensions of it. I know the bed's like 15.16 inches. I'm gonna set it right there for now. I too am running a low on space in my garage. So anyway, let me get this thing unboxed. Look at all the pieces, parts, kind of lay it out, and I may show some of the installation, putting it all together. I may not, but anyway, just kind of wanted to show you that, so stay tuned. Okay, there are the two spoil boards, and over here, I think this thing is just barely going to fit on this table. There's the motor, power supply, power cord. These are the bottoms. Got the sides, and we got the carriage there for the motor. Came with this little pack of different parts. Yeah, like a little limit switches, some collets, the memory stick there, screws, the rubber things for the feet, some sort of probe, a couple of knives, and no USB cable. So I'm guessing, and I do not have a USB, whatever that old style USB is. I forget what it's called. Right there. I gotta see. I think I have a cable here. But I think what I might do is, obviously my PC is in the other room over there. That is definitely not going to reach. So I'm probably going to have to load that, at least some of that software, onto my tablet, my little Surface tablet, and then kind of run it from that. I know they supposedly make a Wi-Fi module. Yeah, I may look into that. But for now, I think the tablet should work fine. I mean, I'm going to design everything on my PC, which I've already got one program kind of designed for this project, and I'll just copy it over that file to the tablet and run from there. That's the plan, at least. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing together, and I'm not really clocking it. I was roasting, but I had to stop roasting because it's kind of loud and it's really warm in here. So I will bring you back once I have this thing assembled. All right, I just wanted to point out something. I'm still connecting things up. If you get one of these and you're putting one together, there's a bar with wires in it coming out of it. That is the back. Just remember that, because I had it in the front. I'm like, what the heck? Something's not lining up right. So I just had to take the 4 posts off and turn the table around. But then everything will hook right up. I am going to have to attach this to the table. It's actually fairly sturdy, but I will attach it anyway. There are screw holes for it here, and then on the other side. So actually it's been pretty straightforward. The instructions are okay. They don't really kind of show the pieces. You'll have the gantry, which will have the black box on the back side of it, and then you'll have the 2 side rails. Okay, one with the control box, that is the front, and then you'll have the 2 knobs, that is the back. So you got a knob there, and then you got a knob there, and that is what will turn these lead screws. So yeah, we do have a little bit of wobble, but I'll bolt this down to the table. So yeah, it's a tight fit, that's for sure. I got my laser printers right there, and then this is going to be sitting right here for the time being. Depending on how much of a mess it makes, I may end up taking it in the house. upstairs into my office. So, but anyway, just wanted to point that out, and I'll be back. Alright, I do stand corrected. It does come with the USB cable. I had one though, so I just dug it out. Anyway, it's plugged in, has not been turned on yet. Everything I do believe is connected up. So all I'm going to do is hit the power button and see if it does anything. I don't have the software installed, so I don't know if this thing is, I guess I should read the manual some, because it didn't really do anything. So hold on a second, let me see if I'm missing something. Okay, well, I do have everything connected, double check that, and hit the power button, and I get nothing. So the next step will be to get the tablet and install the drivers for this thing on my tablet. I'll see if I can round up another mouse and see if we can get it to do something. You know, I got to find some wood, or actually my first project is going to be plexiglass. And since plexiglass is kind of expensive, I don't know if I've got any junk plexiglass back there. I'm going to have to see. But if not, then I will get some wood or something and figure out something. So I'll bring you back here in a moment. Alright, let's continue on. Okay, I did power this thing on. You have to download the two pieces of software. The GRBL, well, the driver, and it is on that memory stick. Pretty straightforward. You just, go down to it and then install it. It installs the driver. I think the speed baud rating was like 115,000. You do that, and then you install. Actually, you don't even install it. Just copy the what's this called? Candle, Sane Smart stuff. Just copy it to your desktop, and then create a shortcut to run it, and it'll automatically load up. There's no actual install process for it. All right, so then you'll have this screen here. It'll just be blank. I was getting a check limit switch error, so I got to looking around, and this wire right there where my finger is, I actually had that plugged in back here, which is the probe. It does have a probe, but it is not magnetic, and it is supposed to attach somehow to something. I don't know. I gotta look into that further, but there is a way to do that, and I'm just not sure yet, so haven't messed with that. Anyway, so I turned it on and I was dorking around with it. It was still kind of giving me some errors, and I ended up, let's see if I can get you down here, let's see if I'm going to be able to see what you're seeing. You shouldn't have any red lights, and if you do, because mine was positioned, and this is actually the front of the machine, so and your x-axis is left to right, your y is front to back, and then your z is up and down. The z, I need to look into that probe thing. You don't really need the probe, to zero it out. I haven't homed this, I haven't zeroed in. I do have a piece of wood clamped into here, but in this program you can see, I don't know how well you're going to see, down here you can jog your motor, your rails. You can make it go left and right, front to back. Right now it's set to a value, step value down here, kind of where my thumb is, to 10. So if I hit the right arrow, it's going to move this over 10 millimeters. This is all in metrics, so it's all millimeters. So if I change that value to 100, it's going to go over 100. I am no pro on this, so take that with a grain of salt. Let's move it backwards. Let's move it backwards 100. Okay, so it's kind of, let's change that to 10. And actually, no. If you hit the home key, the home button, which is, it looks like a little magnifying glass. It's got a tiny little house on it. I wish you could blow this up, but I am doing this on my tablet, so let's see if I can get you in there. That one right here where my thumb is, I'm going to hit that, and it's going to home it. So it should bring it all the way back to this corner right down here. Okay, so that worked. It homed. So it's communicating fine. Everything's going fine. There are 3 files on there that you can load: a circle, this Saint Smart logo, and I think a gear or something like that. I just loaded up the Saint Smart thing. And based upon what I did read, if you see, oh man, I can't see what you're really seeing. But here where my finger is, that is where it's going to start. So kind of what we want to do is position this needle, whatever this thing is called, sharp knife, flat bottom sharp knife. We want to position that kind of like over here. I don't think this thing is that big. Honestly, I don't know how big it is. It doesn't really look that big. So maybe 40 millimeters. Maybe 40 millimeters left to right and 10 millimeters up and down. I'm really not that familiar with this program, but I think that's what I'm reading down here in this bottom left corner. So let's move it over. What you don't want to do is you don't want to hit these things. So let's change this to 10. We're going to move it towards us. Okay, that just moved it down. Okay, so the up and down arrows are going to move this needle down. All right, so that's these up and down arrows right here. That moves your x-axis. So we're right there in the corner, pretty much in the corner. So it should start right about here and then kind of go over. So let's zero that out, which is the left and right, which is this symbol. It's kind of like an L with a O and a slash through it. All right, so we zeroed that right there. So now let's bring our needle down. And they said a good way to do it is take a piece of scrap paper, which I should have scrap paper in here. Let me get a piece of scrap paper. Right behind me. And kind of set it down. And then as you get closer, oh, I definitely poked into the wood right there. So let's change our increment, our step, to 0.01. And we're going to move this down. And we're just inching it down until it touches that paper. So if you guys got a 3D printer, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, to level your bed, you put a piece of paper underneath it to, yeah, like that, and you wait till it feels some drag. So we're moving down here. And actually, let's change our feed speed to 10 and we should be able to hit something on here. Not that one. And I think that may need to be tightened up a little bit more, so we're going to do that. Let's do that now. Before we dig into any piece of wood here. And I want to make sure I got that blade sitting down in there far enough. That's up there in there pretty good. You don't want too much of it sticking out. so let's see how it spins. It was talking about, I'll hit the middle, I think. No, it's not the middle button. One of the buttons, you could actually spin it to okay, I think the feed is how fast it's going to go over, but we can go up here and we can change this, your speed on your spindle. No, I wish I had a PC in here, or actually I need to get a USB extender so I can hook my mouse up to it, because this tablet's only got one USB port. So we're at 1400, we're at 400. So I think it is spinning in the correct direction. So I don't know what speed we're supposed to run this thing at, honestly. So let's just go with 5,400. Okay, so we know that's spinning. And then we can keep jogging it back down again. So we can set our x-axis. See, I really ought to be putting this like right up here. I guess you can see that. See what I'm doing. I'm just hitting this down arrow to the right, moving the x-axis down. Yeah, it's getting close. You should be able to see the blade. And you just want it to where it's touching that piece of paper. And then you can zero it. Okay, it's snagging it. And we got an alarm here for something. Is the limit okay? I don't know. So hit the unlock button. We are going to zero that. And then we can raise it back. I think that should be zeroed. Let's raise it back up a little bit. Pull our piece of paper out. And how do you get this thing to run? Maybe hit send. There is an e-stop button right here, so if it goes horribly wrong, we can stop it. So let's send it. And I have an alarm. It says check limits. Okay, I don't know what limit, because it's going forward, front, back, and left to right. So I will have to, and it changed the speed to 6,000. Let's unlock it, clear that, and send it again. Okay, so I keep getting an alarm. And it's saying check limit. So it is not very intuitive, I will tell you that. And there are limit switches. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4. You know, for front, back, or more than that. I don't know. So I don't know why it's giving me that error. So if we reset, I hate to do that because then that may screw up our stuff. I have not bolted this to the table, and maybe that's an issue. I don't think so, but For the heck of it, let's try to set it again. And it does say in it right here, check limit. And I just keep getting that error. Okay. Interesting, because I have no idea what limit it is referring to. Alright, so if we hit reset, what's that do? That clears that. That clears that. And send. Nah, I just keep getting that check limits. Okay. And I can see that needle's positioned right above it, so it's going up and down. Huh. Well, I'm at a loss. Because it doesn't tell you what limit you need to check. Alright. I'm going to pause you here and see if I can figure this out instead of having you drag on. I'll definitely tell you what it is once I figure it out, so back in a minute. Okay, I think I figured out what that problem was. I had the bit too far up in there and the x-axis travel had been reached, so that's why I was getting the check limit. You know, I don't know, I'll have to look and see if there's a better program out there that gives you more precise errors as to where which limit switch is being tagged, but you know, obviously I'm still playing with this software and trying to understand how this stuff works, but I did get it to kind of etch down there. I'll show you here in a sec. But this little logo is pretty small, and yeah, I forgot to bring my caliper over. But I'm guessing these X, Y, and Z coordinates down here in the lower left indicate how big this drawing actually is. So I think I've got it positioned up a little bit higher, so we'll get it to run again. And let me see if I can zoom you in. And let's, oh, my keyboard came up there. I think, and you've got to be positioned inside. You got to be positioned inside. Let's see if it's, I can't tell if you're seeing it. See that little box there with all the arrows pointing to all the lines going to it? You got to have pretty much be right in the center of that. In order for it to do its thing. So let's send it. And it's going to move up. And here we go. And it is not going deep. But it's doing its thing. And as you watch this, the lines that disappear are the lines that are completed. I ordered a set of bits for this thing. They'll be here maybe one day this week. I do have some plexiglass. I just kind of want to try on this scrap wood, get the hang of it before I try to etch something, and maybe I'll make something in Fusion 360 and see how well that works. But this is actually pretty cool. Doesn't seem to be making a whole lot of dust. I did download a file, which I'm going to have to dig out the 3D printer. I had that packed up, and they make, somebody has designed a holder for that probe. And I'm guessing you stick like a piece of metal or something in the end of it, because it's got the alligator clip. But you need something to hold it. And it's got the little alligator clip. So I'm not sure. I will look into that and then report back on this probe tool. Unless there's something inside the box here. There's just some Allen wrenches left, a couple washers. I still need to mount this thing to the table, but okay, that was done. 2 minutes 16 seconds. And let me get you over here, because this wood is light. It's really hard to see. Let me zoom you out. So I'm guessing it's going to show up. This is the first one I did, and the second one's right here, but this wood is really light. But it did what it was supposed to do, which is pretty cool. Now let's see here. There's another file we can open. There's a wheel. Okay, so there's a wheel, and let's move our thing over increments of 10. I don't know if we need to reset the x-axis since we already set the home on that previously, but let's go down here and let's hit the home. Okay, so we should be lined up, and should be. I'm not going to mess with the z-axis, I mean, because we already homed that before when we did this other piece. So I'm curious. Let's try and see what happens. Worst it'll do is crash. Alright, so let's send this. Oh yeah, that went down too far. So, okay. So every time you do that, you have to redo your z-axis. So let's change it to 5. Let's go down. Let's pull this back down. And let's home it right there. And then let's lower our spindle. Ooh, that might be a little too much. And when you get an alarm, all you gotta do is hit the unlock button, and that'll unlock it. Yeah, so we're still touching. I'm just gonna do it until I can slide this piece of paper underneath it, which is right there. And we're touching. Alright, so let's go up a hair right there. Got just a tiny bit of drag on it. So let's home that. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. That way as it goes up, it doesn't drag across the board. Alright, so we should be ready to go. Let's send it. Nope, I got an error. So I did get another check limit. So let's clear that. Maybe it's going down too far. Let's move it back over. Okay, so let's home it there. So our little pointer is right inside the little box. This thing, it says it's 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters. So we are, I think, pretty close. I think we might be even. I'm going to do it right there. So everything is all zeroed out. So send. It's not liking something. I wonder if I need to raise that bit up higher. No, we went too high. Let's go back down to 5. Okay, so we are, it's definitely detecting into that wood, because as soon as that pointer went into that wood, the alarm got set. So let's change that to 1 millimeter. Raise it up. Raise it up. I'm going to leave that there. We're going to home that one. And then let's move it back down. We're going to start right there. We're going to home it. Let's see if this works. If this don't work, I don't know. I just have to look into it and see what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, as soon as it goes into that wood, it stops with an alarm. Okay, so why is that? I really don't know. Let's reset that. Let's bring this back up. Let's move it back down. We're home there. Let's move the tip down. Not as much. So I'm pretty far off the wood there. So let's zero that. And I got to look at what these other symbols. There's a little guy running and something else. So let's see what it does. Okay, so it's still running, but it's not going down deep enough. So how do we abort? Let's abort that. And let's move it back over. Let's home that position. Ah, shoot. I hit the actual home button. So it's going to go up, come all the way back down here to the corner, and then we'll have to kind of start over again. Yeah, what the heck. We're sitting here, let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to have to Google this whole bit setup here and how the Z-axis works, or what it's checking off of. Alright, so let's change our step back to 10. Let's go up. Let's change our feed rate to 1,000. That way it moves faster. Actually, we can change our feed rate to 2,000. Let's go 100. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's go back down to 10. Let's move it up. And let's move it over. And let's move our tip down. Whoa, stab the wood. So let's go in increments of 1 millimeter. Clear the alarm. And I think we're touching. I'm gonna home it there. And let's see what it does. I think it's going to error again as soon as it touches that wood, but yeah, as soon as it hits the wood. So why is it doing that? I do not know. So we've got abort, 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 ignore, abort. It's not liking something now. Okay, let's abort this. And clear the alarm, which is not allowing me to clear the alarm. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just do this. Let's exit out. Bring it back up. Let's open our file. Let's clear the alarm. Let's raise it up. Okay, we're there. Let's come down. Let's home it there and there. So we're at 0. And I don't know. I mean, it's a couple mil above the board. I don't know, man. I mean, is it thinking the blade's loose? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to pause you until I figure it out, and then I'll bring you back and tell you exactly what it was. Well, that was quick and easy. I raised up the Z-axis and lowered the bit down a little bit more. That's all I did. So yeah, that's definitely something I want to Google about the placement of your blade height. And I guess that's also going to have to do with your drawing and how far you have basically extruded down your engraving. That'd be my guess. Those speeds, like the speed right now for the motor is at 2,000 RPM. I guess you can, or 6,000 RPMs. So you can raise and lower that, and I guess just like with a mill or a lathe, your feeds and speeds. I have to find a darker piece of wood to do some stuff on so it shows up better. It does have the rubber feet on it, so it ain't moving. I mean, it's vibrating, but it ain't moving. So there's 3 of the spokes left. onto the second to last. This is showing elapsed time. Yeah, 3 minutes and 4 seconds so far. It says it's going to take 5 minutes, 26 seconds. Actually, this thing is pretty easy to use. I mean, for this, yes. I mean, these are sample files, but I mean, setting the thing up, and the software was actually pretty simple to set up. There wasn't nothing hard there. Figuring out these check errors, that's the thing that's going to get you. And I hadn't changed anything else other than that bit, so I figured it had to do something with the bit. And because the way this design is cut, it had to go down farther, and I had reached the limit on the Z-axis downward stroke. Well, now it's doing the circle all the way around it. See if I can zoom you in a little bit more. It's just pallet wood. I had taken a bunch a while back and run it through the planer for little projects. Well, this is good to see this do this circle because the project I have for work requires an arch, and this in wood is just doing it perfect. I'm pretty stoked about that. There we go. Job done, 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Let me get you up here and let me home this thing. Get it out of the way. I'll zoom you out. So you can see the circle. That thing's getting shadowed now. But that's actually pretty nice. I mean, I could use a little sanding, but I don't even know if I'm using the right bit. You know, like I said, this is all new to me. So, trial and learn. Alright, so I will figure out something else to do. I may run something up in Fusion 360 and put it on here and try a little different test. So, I'll be back. Alright guys, obviously it's been a little bit since I recorded the last part of this because I've been playing around and learning as much as I can. Apologize for the noise, but this thing does make a bit of noise. I am learning a ton of stuff. What I'm doing now, or what I'm attempting to do, is one of the jigs that we use at my shop for label alignment on bottles. That's what I'm making for a 750 ml size bottle. And the two parts of this, you know, I use Fusion 360, which has been a tremendous learning curve. I am learning this stuff every day, how to do different things. And one of the things I did learn is I was having the hardest time trying to figure out how to cut the depth. And as you can see, I'm trying to line this board up right on the very edge. I think I kind of got it. it's close. So, but I will be making another version of this that actually sits on a base. But that is to come because I'm going to have to mill off, say, I don't know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch Delrin, shave out some of it. So I will definitely bring you along. I got to order the Delrin, but I had to order a different motor, spindle, and 1 1/4 inch bit, surfacing bit. So that's coming along. But also learning this trace versus engrave. I haven't really tackled the engrave yet. I think I've kind of got the trace thing figured out. I don't have another piece right now. I can show this once I've got that done, or this piece is done. But this candle software that runs on the laptop, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it does what it needs to do. Figuring out though, and this is the test I was trying tonight. I'll see if I can zoom you in on it. That piece down there that you see in the screen, right there at the very bottom. I tried my best to line up this router with this piece. So I had proper dimensions from left to right, and then right to farther right, if you follow what I mean. Anyway, I think that's coming along okay. I think I'm off a little bit on my mark because you can see right there and then right there. I was trying to line this up to hit at those spots, and I'm off just a hair. The one side, the left side's actually good, but also too, I ended up having to raise this board, if you can see what I got stacked underneath there, because a lot of the bits weren't touching the piece. Even with the spindle, which is the blue thing centered in the picture, all the way at its lowest setting, they weren't touching. So yes, at some point I will make a different spoil board. That's a project I want to do. But so anyway, I just took a piece of plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, and raised it up enough so I could use all the bits that I've got, which I have a collection of right down there. So, but it's coming along. Trying to think what I'm missing. Well, the whole Fusion 360 part, whether you use SolidWorks, Fusion 360, or any other CAD CAM design software, it doesn't matter. You know, I guess they're pretty much all the same. I can't speak to that end. The other one I've ever messed with is Fusion 360. When I was playing with the 3D printer, which I have got back out because I 3D printed a part that I made in Fusion the other day. So, but this is a whole different learning curve, and like I said, when it comes to the surfacing and a lot of these other bits, I haven't even tried them yet. I'm focusing on getting these label jigs done, and then on to the next set of label jigs that I need to make. So that's the primary focus of why I got this thing. But obviously you can do a whole bunch of other things with it, which, you know, I think down the road I'll you know, explore with you guys and bring you along. So in the meantime, I think I may cut this short, end this up at kind of like a part 1, but I think I'm just going to kind of maybe do a different series on some of this stuff, you know, so you guys learn as I learn. The thing is pretty cool. Genmitsu, who makes it, their support is outstanding. They have answered all of my questions. So, and they're very helpful. It takes about a day. You know, I guess they're in China or somewhere east of here, way east of here. But they're very responsive. So, you know, and so far I've had no issues. Well, take that back. The one issue I do have, and I've reached out to them, I'm waiting to hear back, is you will see sitting over there with the little blue light on it. That's the auto probe. And I've got it set up according to their website, and it does work at times, and then it decides to not work. So I don't know if the thing's maybe flaking out or what, but it's easy enough to set your Z-axis. That's why you see the sheet of paper sitting there right here. You know, you just lower it down until it touches and, you know, zero out your Z setting. So, but anyway, I mean, it is coming along, and I'm pretty impressed with what I'm able to do with this thing, and you see that's tracing right now, but back to the whole depth thing, it's axial offset in Fusion 360. So there is no, when I designed this, what you see on the screen there is nothing underneath it. It's just an outline of what I'm wanting to do, a bunch of lines and stuff. And then I just use that axial offset to set the depth of the cut. And I'm trying to cut very fine lines because maybe kind of hard to see, but on the left, you see them lines there, they're only about a millimeter apart from each other. So I'm trying to keep the tip of that blade, you know, just right under the surface, so my lines don't go too deep and they get blurred. But anyway, that's where I am with this. Sorry for the kind of jump from, hey, I just got this thing, I want to do this, to kind of like using it now. But I've been trying to understand all this stuff, and I didn't really want to bore you guys with all that crap. But if you want to be bored with all that crap, shoot me a message, you know, leave me a comment, and I'll be more than happy to go over anything or any questions and share what I know about this thing and so far. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. Apologize for the noise again, and I will catch you guys on the next video about this thing.